I would say there are many, many, many learnings, but if I had to isolate one, it's probably, and I remember very well Stan, the CEO of Doctolib, setting such an example on that. Probably the major learning was the ability of Stan and the entire organization to prioritize brutally. Really brutally, because in such specific moments where you're turning the entire company around a product, video consultation on in this example, there are so many different things that need to be done or that could be done, and that could pollute the time you have to deliver. That having a CEO and having an organization that has such an ability to prioritize, which is basically an ability to say no to 90% of the topics. And really striking learning for me, because when I look back at the previous 20 years of my professional career that had been spent in, let's say, more mature, more traditional companies, in all those companies, everybody was talking about prioritization. Nobody was able to do it, which is the classical plague that you have in larger organizations. The brutal learning this year of 2020 at Doctolib was the ability of an organization to prioritize, to say no to many things, and the ability to look at employees and say, guys, girls, I want you to stop everything you do and do that thing, because that's the one thing that will create the most value for the company for the next 3 months, 6 months. This ability, starting from the top of the company and rippling down the entire organization, I was really amazed. And this is really something that I use today when I mentor young entrepreneurs. I try to convey that message to them, which is, the most precious resource of a startup is not even cash. The most precious resource of a startup is the founder's time. 24 hours a day, you have to sleep a little. So what are you going to achieve? What are you going to dedicate that special, precious resource to? And what are the things? Because when you do something, you don't do something else. So what are the 9 topics to which you're going to say no to really work on something and make it happen? Major learning for me during my time at Doctolib.
Can you give maybe like 1 or 2 examples of things Doctolib had to say no like during that period?
Well, again, so if you go back to that time, so we are in March 2020. The lockdown has been declared by President Macron. The entire company is basically pivoting around video consultation, sales, marketing, tech. Everything is turning around video consultation, and there are quite a few things to be achieved on the video consultation product of Doctolib at that time, which was not self-onboardable. So quite a few things had to be done in an absolute emergency, and many company processes had to be changed. And basically, we had like 1 or twice a day, we had a crisis meeting with the top 20, 30 people of the company around the table. And I very specifically, I remember those meetings where you had very talented, hardworking people around the table saying to the CEO, Stan, it's not going to be possible. It's too much. We are not going to be able to deliver that, etc., etc. And I remember very well Stan saying, guys, you did not understand. I want you to stop everything you do. I know that you had been working on very strategic projects, very important things, blah, 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 blah. But I want you to stop everything you do and you just do that. And those words coming from the CEO, it makes a ton of difference, because all of a sudden you have teams that are like, okay, I can really drop everything and I'm going to do one thing. And 20 of us, by the way, are going to do one thing and one thing only. So guess what? In a couple of days, you move mountains. And for me, it was it was a revolution to listen to that and to see the power of those words.